Hello and welcome to Story Time. Our book today is about a seahorse, Mr. Seahorse. Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea. Mrs. Seahorse began to wiggle and twist this way and that. So we have Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse, and off Mrs. Seahorse goes, twisting and wiggling her way through the ocean. "It's time for me to lay my eggs," she said. "Can I help?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Oh, yes, thank you," said Mrs. Seahorse, as she laid her eggs into a pouch on Mr. Seahorse's belly. "I'll take good care of our eggs," said Mr. Seahorse. "I promise." So there we have Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse. And Mrs. Seahorse is just about to lay all her eggs. And she asks Mr. Seahorse for his help. And he offers his pouch. And off into his pouch all the eggs go. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passes right by. Let's have a look of what he's passed by, because we have all these seaweeds blocking it. A group of trumpet fish hidden in a patch of reed. So there we have all of the trumpet fish that were hidden behind all the reed as Mr. Seahorse is trying to pass by. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by. We can't quite see what he's passing by because we have a lot of the coral reef. A lionfish hidden behind a coral reef. So there we have a lionfish, and it's hidden quite well. In fact, it's quite camouflaged behind all the coral reef. As this Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passes by. Well, can you see through all of the seaweed? I can't. I'm going to have to turn the plastic page to see what is passing by. A pair of leaf fish hidden among the seaweed. So there we have a pair, meaning two leaf fish behind all the seaweed. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by. Well, I can't quite see what he's passing by because we have a big rock in front of it. A stonefish hidden behind the rock. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Pipe?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Couldn't be better," replied Mr. Pipe. Mrs. Pipe laid her eggs along my belly. Now I am taking good care of them until they hatch. "You should feel proud of yourself," said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Seems like a lot of these sea animals are helping with the eggs. We have Mr. Seahorse, who's protecting all of Mrs. Seahorse's eggs in his pouch. And now we have Mr. Pipe protecting all their eggs on his belly. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Bullhead?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Tip top," replied Mr. Bullhead. Mrs. Bullhead laid her eggs and the eggs hatched. "Now I'm babysitting." "You are doing a fine job," said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. The time had come for the seahorse babies to be born. Mr. Seahorse wiggled and twisted his way and that. At last the babies tumbled from Mr. Seahorse's pouch and swam away. One baby turned around and tried to come back into the pouch. "Oh no," said Mr. Seahorse. "I do love you, but now you are ready to be on your own." And there we have it. All the seahorses climbing out of Mr. Seahorse's pouch and swimming away to become independent little seahorses. And we have the one that doesn't want to go away and wants to come back. But as much as Mr. Seahorse loves it dearly, he has to let him go. And that is the end of our story today. What a wonderful story of all the different sea animals and fish Mr. Seahorse had to pass by to make way to his place where he was ready to let his little eggs hatch and go out into the ocean to become independent little seahorses. I hope you enjoyed. I did.